And hello again, and welcome to the next video about my Guzzi here. Now, I did mention the Guzzi when I made the video a few days ago about all my different projects, and in that video I did say that I'd been ordering parts for the bike and the first one had already arrived. And that first part, if I can reach over, is this here. And what we have is a ABS front guard, aftermarket front guard, and it's originally made to fit a Triumph T100. Bought it from Amazon, cost just what, I think £11, and what caught my eye was it's already pre-drilled, which is great, but it's also quite wide compared to the kind of mud guards you get from a classic British bike supplier. And that's handy because the front tyre here is a bit wider than are fitted to your classic British bike, and so hopefully it would fit quite well on this 18-inch 110 tyre. As you can see, it does actually fit quite well. The only fly in the ointment is that my current fork brace here that we made some time ago is too narrow to cover the holes that are already pre-drilled here, and that means that I can't really use that. I'll have to make another front fork brace which is a bit wider that can then accommodate these holes. But you know, no great problem, and to be honest, for £11 you can't really argue with that. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that, so let's pop him back on there and then we'll look at the next part I've ordered, and that is a Lemans Mark 1 fairing, and the box of that arrived about 5 minutes ago. So let's go back indoors and we'll open the box and see what it looks like. And here it is. So let's get this thing open, and hopefully we've got a nice Lemans Mark 1 cockpit fairing in here. Now, I haven't yet bought the screen for it, because I wasn't quite sure what particular one to get. I can get them smoked or tinted or clear. So I'll get one soon, So that's the book in here. Yeah, there it is. Focus the right one, please. Yeah. There it is. What's that behind? Obviously, he's taking interest. And there it is. I think this one is it ABS? No, it's fiberglass. Okay. Yeah, there it is. So, in fact, even red, the same sort of colour red as my bike. Oh, not far off anyway. Okay, so let's now see how that looks on the bike. And now finally, after lots of messing about, the headlamp and fairing are pretty much in the correct position on the bike. Now right now it's just held on with bits of tape, so I don't want to touch it, it might fall off. But I must say, I was quite surprised when I stood back, because the fairing seems much lower than I expected, and also a lot further forward. So I was a bit puzzled by that, and it has to be like that because the lower parts of the fairing are now touching the forks and also touching the lower yoke, so there's not much you can do about that. And as you can see, there's quite a big gap between the back of the headlamp and my instruments, which is a bit weird because I don't remember seeing that on a Lemans Mark 1. So yeah, bit of a puzzle. So I went off and had a look at a standard Lemans Mark 1, expecting that their headlamp brackets were much shorter as it would bring the headlamp back. But as it turned out, no, they weren't. They looked pretty much the same size as these. And then I realised the problem is that on a standard old-fashioned Lemans Mark 1 or Mark 2, the instrument pod, i.e. the tacho, the speedo, the lights and so on, are bloody massive. They completely fill up this gap here. Yeah, that's why they don't have this big gap. But they need the big gap because they've got those old-fashioned instruments. Yeah, so a bit of a puzzle really, but I'm hopeful that when I fit the screen to this, which I've not got yet, that will visually at least complete this look. It won't look so bad with this big gap here. And now here we are, another day, another parcel's been delivered, and in here is something I've been waiting for quite a while, and it's the screen for my Lemans Mark 1 fairing. This came from Guzzi bits, and I went for a tinted screen, as you can see. And this comes complete with the edging already fixed, which is great. It's also drilled as well. You've got 3 holes there pre-drilled. So if we look at the fairing here, which is also from Guzzi bits, it goes together, let me see, something like this. Yeah. something like that. So now we've got to see how it looks on a bike. And now I've got the screen bolted to the fairing, just using some socket heads I had lying around. They'll do for now. They won't make the final build, but there you go. So let's have a look and see how things work on the bike. Now the headlamp could well be in the wrong position, but we'll do our best. It might be too low, too high, it might be too far forward. I'm not sure, but that's not really working very well at the moment. I mean, now the fairing's coming back too far. It needs to go further in at the bottom there, and it can't. Yeah, I think I know what's going on. I think what's happening is these cutouts, which are made for the forks, aren't wide enough, because right now this bit here is hitting the forks and the outside of the yokes. So therefore, I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to hacksaw out a bit more space here on the outside of these cutouts. I didn't want to do it because it can upset the gel coat and it just makes life more complicated when you come to paint the thing. And in fact, talking about paint, this is gel coat, and it's quite amazing that by pure chance the gel coat chosen by whoever made this is almost identical to the colour I got on my bike here. Maybe it's a bit darker, I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty damn close. Anyway, let me go away and mark out where these cutouts have to be widened out a wee bit, and then we'll come back and try again. And now I'm back from the garage where I've been busy with a hacksaw, and I've cut off about 10 to 15 mil on this edge here and this edge here. So let's just do a little test fit now for the first time and see how things are. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. It's not fighting me quite as much now. Seems to sit a lot easier. So if you can see that, I'm not sure. A bit tricky to do it, but I'm trying to hold it at the same time. Yeah, so that's a lot better. Yeah, but obviously there's still work to do. And once I've even done that, I've then got to work out how to mount it. I've got to make some mounts somehow. So actually when people say, oh, it's just a Lemans Mark 1 fairing, you've banged it on that Tonti framed Guzzi, must have been easy. Well, guess what? It's not, because nothing ever fits the first time, believe you me. And so now, looking at the seat unit, which is currently sat on the bike, pretty much where it needs to go. I can't weld to the underside of this seat because it's lined with fiberglass to strengthen it, so that's no good, I can't weld to it. However, we do have these 4 holes already drilled in the seat unit, and that's to hold the seat base in place. So what I have to do is make 2 brackets, one at the front, one at the back, which use these holes to mount to the seat base. And at the front, that bracket needs to hold a couple of those tubes, which will slide onto prongs bolted to the frame, and at the back, again, bolt on the plate and then bend it down and bolt it to the back of the frame here. Yeah, and so that's what's next. And now here we see that front bracket bolted into place, that's fine. And at the back here, I've got this 3mm plate, also bolted into place. After much sort of checking and double checking, I have hopefully found the place to fold it, along with having to cut out these pieces here, because this piece, once folded, has to go between the frame rails, and so it needs to be a bit narrower. Yeah, so hopefully I've got that right, and now I can take it to Jeff the Welder's workshop. He's open, and he can fold this for me on his computer controlled brake, and maybe he'll even cut out these for me if he's feeling generous. And now I'm just back from Jeff the Welder's workshop, where he did several different jobs for me, quite small jobs, but nevertheless they're all needed, and one of which was this one here, where he's folded this 3mm alloy bracket for me, as you can see, and hopefully that will now fit on the bike correctly. And I also cut out these side pieces which I marked out before. So yeah, so next I've got to get that on the seat, get it on the bike, and then work out where I've got to drill the 2 mounting holes where it meets with the frame. Yes, that's something to do next. He also did a few more jobs for me, one of which was to roll another piece of 3mm plate like this, you see. I don't need all that, but I do need the bit that we've cut out, which is this bit here. And this little piece of 3mm now rolled plate is going to be the mount for the rear light and the rear plate. I'm going to roll it so it matches the curve of the rear of the seat hump there. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Now what I will do is I'm going to fiberglass this in place. I'm not going to drill through it and drill through the seat to mount this thing, because I don't want to sort of break up the lines of the back of the seat. And since the underside of the seat's already been fiberglassed, that shouldn't really be a big problem. Yes, that's pretty good. Happy with that. And now we've got to bolt that back on the seat, get it all lined up, and hope we'll find everything works just right. And now there's the bracket bolted into place, so it's time for a test fit. Well, it seems the seat doesn't fit because I'm an idiot. I've done something wrong and I can see what it is. Oh dear. Right, hang on, let me take this off. It seems like it won't go forward, it won't slide forward by about what, about 30 mils, something like that. I'm going to take it off here. Let me bring the camera over and explain why I'm an idiot. And now with the camera, you can see these two mounts here, which mount the rear seat bracket like this somehow, like that. Now where I went wrong is that when it was in place, I carefully measured from the top of this point here straight up, and I thought that was where it should be folded from. But no, because of course the seat actually sits about 40 millimeters above these frame rails here. So what's actually happening is, rather than it being like say this, which would fit fine, if I raise it up, obviously then that forces everything back, and then nothing aligns anymore. The seat won't go any more forward than this. So yeah, pretty damn stupid thing to do. I guess it was less haste, more speed sort of thing. Anyway, what can we do about that? Well, ideally I'd like to re-drill these holes about 40 millimeters this way, and that will solve the problem. Can't do that because I don't have a spare 40 mil of material. Can't do that. So another option of course would be to bend it flat and re-bend it, but I can't do that because bending aluminium is not like bending steel. It doesn't like it and it will soon crack and break if I keep doing that. So that's no good. So I'm not sure. I guess I could make another one. I have another one made with the holes in the correct position this time round, but we'll see. I'm going to take it to Jeff the welder and see what he says. Perhaps he'll have a great idea that I can't think of to solve the problem. And there's also a second problem with the new mounts for the seat, which I knew about, so not such a surprise. And that problem is that once it's in place, I won't be able to bolt up this rear bracket. And that's because when the seat's in its correct position, there's no access to the back of these bolts here to tighten them up. So what I did in the past with the Mark II version was I'd actually bolt that bracket on first, like this, bolt it all up, quite happy, then we'll slide the seat on, put the studs through here and bolt it up, and we're good to go. But that method doesn't work with the new seat because the bracket sits that way round, and so when it's in place these bolts are not available. I can't access them, so overall it's a bit of a pain. But I knew about that from the day I got the seat, so it's not such a surprise. And the way to solve that problem is that rather than having a bolt and a nut in these positions here, what I'm going to do is to take the tray out and weld on a nut on the inside, a captive nut on both of these points here. That way I can just put a bolt straight through and not have to worry about things. And in fact, while I'm doing that, I'm also going to drill out the holes from, I think this is just an M6, just 6 millimeters. That doesn't seem very big to me to hold my weight. So we'll take them out to 8 millimeters and hopefully that should be plenty strong enough. And now here we are, another day and another bracket. We made a Mark II version. And it's just the same as this one, it's just that the holes are 40 millimeters further back, which should hopefully allow me to fit the seat just right. So we'll see about that. So let's move that out of the way. And over here also we have the electrics tray, which actually is a really strong thing. It's built out of stainless steel. Not sure how thick it is, but you can jump on it and it won't bend, so it's pretty damn strong. And as you can see now, I've got the two captive nuts welded into place. So yeah, that's good. So now I've got to put that back on the bike, put the M unit back in and so on, and try the seat again, and hopefully we'll find everything fits this time round. And now I've got the seat back on the bike with that Mark II bracket in place, and I must say it does look a lot better. So now I'm going to take it off once again and carefully mark it so I can cut it and drill it to mount to the frame. Yeah, so that's next, but right now it's getting quite late, it's getting a bit dark in here, so I'll have to wait until tomorrow. And now we come inside for a moment because I've just had another delivery from Guzzi Bits, and this time it's the pair of brackets which hold the Lemans Mark 1 fairing to the bike. And I was considering making these, but then I saw a diagram of a Lemans Mark 1 front end with a picture of these things, and I thought, oh, that looks a bit complicated. You've got a couple of very accurately bent bends here, and to be honest, I went online, checked with Guzzi Bits, and they had them in stock. I think they're about £33, something like that. So it's not really worth faffing about trying to make them when I can order it. And sure enough, a week later, here they are. And straight away we got a small problem, because when I slide this bracket into place, like that, I've now got no access to tighten up this countersunk socket head. Bit of a shame actually, because I quite like that. So they'll have to go and I'll have to fit a standard hex head bolt instead. However, if I have to lose this rather nice countersunk bolt and its washer, I'm going to replace it with something cool, which is this machined titanium bolt. I just happen to have a few of these in the garage, so I've grabbed a pair and they fit fine. So hopefully that'll just slide on there now. Because it's a bolt, I can now tighten it up no problem. And now I've drilled the first two holes in the fairing, here and here, and we've got it mounted to the brackets, and so far it looks okay. So next I've got to drill a hole here and on the other side, and also one more beneath. Now when it comes to drilling holes in the fairing, it's all a bit nerve-wracking because you're worried you're going to drill a hole in the wrong place. But if we zoom in, you can see I've got some help. And that's because whoever made this fairing was kind enough to add some very faint marks here, here and here, where the bolts have to go, where you have to drill the fairing. Now I'm not sure if my camera can pick it up, but it's a very faint circle there. You see it just there, and that tells me that's where I need to drill the hole. And so now I've just got to remove the fairing yet again, drill out those holes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything will fit just right. And finally, after a bit of a fight, I've got this Lemans Mark 1 fairing in place. It's not in its final position yet because it needs to tilt up a bit more. But I've not yet tightened everything up because I know it's going to come off, because I want to change all these fasteners for some fasteners that suit the bike a bit better. And they're currently on order, so I've got to wait for that. I've also got the seat unit now sorted out. It's in place, in the correct position, and that bracket is now bolted down just right. So hopefully that's done. Obviously still got to get some upholstery done on that seat, but God knows when that will be, because we're now in lockdown. And I've also got a fiberglass in that little rear light holder, little bracket we made a while ago. Yeah, so pretty much that's how the bike's going to look. Obviously it won't stay aluminium at the back there, it's going to get painted, as will all this stuff. So yeah, oh, and also of course I'm still waiting for the mount to be sorted out for the front mudguard. And again, I've got some aluminium on order for that, so I've got to wait for that. Yeah, but pretty much this is how the bike will look when it's finished, all by the colour of course. But now it's getting late once again, and it's getting quite dark in here actually. I can't quite see what's going on behind here. So I think this video is going to be quite long, so we'll end it here. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and cheers.